Hello, my name is Jolien van Herwaarden and I'm a trainer and an associate for the Resource Alliance in London. It's a London-based organization that connects all the change makers in the NGO world worldwide. To do that, they have 5 programs. First of all, there's the IFC, the International Fundraising Conference in Holland. There is fundraising online. It's an online conference that's free to attend. Then there is the fundraising awards. They celebrate fundraising successes and fundraising and creativeness, again, all over the world. They have a program called Emerge, where they support grassroots organizations with extra fundraising capacity building in any kind of way. It could be training, it could be support tailor-made to the organization. And then there is the Future Leaders program. This video is part of the Future Leaders program, and it talks about leaders as followers, because we all talk about leaders and leadership skills, which is very important, but every leader needs followers, don't we? Let's look at leaders and followers. Now, you could argue that that we need to have more followers than leaders, but there's not so much development around that program. Leaders are supported and encouraged, but followers, what actually is happening with followers? Now, what is a follower? A follower is somebody who thinks critically. A follower is somebody who acts independently, is actively following a leader, and understands compromising. These 4 things are very important when we're talking about followers. You could argue that leaders need followers stronger than the followers need the leader, because a follower can sack the leader, can just leave the leader, and then there is no program and no progress. So leaders need to win the respect of their followers. So and in a democracy, we have the right to choose a leader, we as followers. So let's actively do that, but be a real follower. So how does that work? There's a very clever man, a man called Kelly, E.R. Kelly, and he came up with this. That's how followers will work. There are 5 basic traits of followers. First of all, let's look at it. There is, as you can see, the matrix goes like this. So there is above it, it says an independent critical thinker. On the right and the left, there's active and a passive person. And at the bottom, there is dependent and uncritical thinking. So these people fall under this. Now, R.E. Kelly came up with this, and it's a very interesting way of looking at followers. Because, for instance, there's sheep, as you can see, down here. Now, sheep are passive people, are dependent people. They depend on the leader to tell them what to do. They don't do any thinking themselves. They leave that to the leader. That might be a problem if you have different leadership skills. And then there are yes people down here, the yes people. Now these people are active. They're active, but they're dependent on the leader. So they're not critical thinkers. They're active, but they don't think for themselves. They wait till the leader does the thinking and then are ready to do the doing. They avoid conflict and they must. They are unable to think of solutions for problems. They're not creative or innovative. They are active, but they're dependent. Here. Yes, people. Then on the other side, we have the alienated people. Here, they are independent and passive. These people probably pose the biggest problem for leaders, because these people are independent, They're critical, but they're not sharing it. They're not voicing their opinion. They are alienated from the team process. They're alienated from the focus on the strategy. They will not be part of the team, but they're there and they're independent thinkers. And then there is a survivor. They're in the middle. They have a bit of everything. They choose the path of the least resistance. They are surviving it, as it were. They play it safe. They avoid mistakes. They don't like conflicts. That might be that. Can you imagine, as a leader, these people might work very well in a certain circumstances, but not always. The best really is the effective people. So they're up here, effective. They're independent, they're critical thinking, and they're active, these people. The independent people are, the effective people are independent thinkers. They are proactive. They are able to think creatively. They are able to think on their feet. They are voicing their opinion. They might not always agree with you, but they're there with you, next to you. They consider themselves lifelong learners. So they might be a follower one day, but thinking maybe I'll be a leader another day and then I'll become a follower again. So they understand that life is a bit of both, really. And they practice what we call self-leadership. They actively put themselves in a role of followers. Now, can you imagine how important these people are in your team? Then you will have effective followers. These people are the best people in your team, the effective people. Now, let's look a bit more like who are these effective followers. And if you can make yourself into an effective follower, then your leader you will be very supportive of your leader and the future of your organization. So what does an effective follower look like? Somebody who manages themselves. So if they need anything, they will voice it. If they will learn it, if there's anything to learn, they will learn it. So people manage their own process and their own workload, they are managing their own, not leading, managing their own person and their professional career. They have a strong commitment. They will be part of the organization, they will be part of the team, and they will be an active follower to a leader. So they have a commitment. They have a competence, they can do it. Remember in the previous slide, we were looking at people who were, people who were simply not able to, especially the sheep. They will follow, but they're not able to think creatively. They're not able to share their opinion. Or the people who are alienated, or the yes people, they avoid the conflict. These effective followers, they will have the competency and they will voice their opinion. And they have courage, really. A follower needs courage. A follower needs the courage to say no to a leader. It needs the courage to say, I will follow now, although I might not agree wholly. I will follow because that makes a perfect sense now for this project. It's not always easy, but courage is an important part of being a real good follower. Now there are a few things that followers do, but I have one quote left, which I thought was just so good because it's a leader who became a follower and a follower who became a leader. He says, the challenge that I have now in the middle of my career is that I expect the people who lead me to be the same kind of leader as I am. I expect them to appreciate my suggestions for improvement. I expect them to recognize my dedication to the project and that my efforts earn me their respect. But that isn't always the way it works out. I often find myself counting the days until a project ends because the project manager's leadership skills exhausts me or provide me with a constant stream of minor irritations. I sometimes joke that I should offer a basic leadership skills course as a way to fix my leadership issues. But I know that would not really solve anything. Instead, I try to adjust my follower style so that I don't crush into the rigid leadership wall put around me. If I know my suggestions are not welcome, I do my best to keep my mouth shut. I also take the risk of doing what I feel is best under the guideline that asking forgiveness is sometimes more effective than asking permission. I like that. As a follower, asking forgiveness is sometimes more effective than asking permission. This is an interesting way. A few more books to recommend that I found very useful. First of all, there's this one, Selling the Invisible, from Harry Beckwith. Very, very interesting. It's about NGOs as well as business sense, but if you're selling like we do in fundraising, something invisible, how do you do that? Ken Burnett, I'm a huge fan of Ken Burnett. This is the Zen of fundraising. It talks about leadership, it talks about followers, it talks about teams, it talks about the relationships with donors. The Art of Small Talk, beautiful book, very, very practical, how to talk your way into and out of things and still make sure that the project or the program or your charity is going towards its vision. Global Fundraising was an absolute influential book for me because it was cultural sensitive and it has lots and lots of very good examples. So a wonderful book. And last but not least, of my old friend Everett Compton. It's an old book, but it's a wonderful book and it's full of little nuggets of wisdom. So if you can get hold of this old one, The Generosity of Profit, please do so. Again, thank you very much for watching. My name is Jolien van Herwaarden. I'm connected with the Resource Alliance and the Future Leader Program. It has been an honor. Thank you very much. Bye.